Well, we are a little bit later than usual, but that's okay. Had a great dinner with my family. Family time is very important, so I will definitely move my schedule around for family time. So it's going to be a little bit later, but hey, we can still have fun. Hopefully, it's not past your bedtime, but if it is, then sweet dreams. Welcome to Golden Blued, and don't forget to hit the like button because that's one of the most important things that you can do to help the video. It's not necessarily saying that you like me or you like what I'm talking about, or even that you like this video. It just helps the show hit the YouTube algorithm and it gets suggested more and we grow your audience. That's how you grow a video, hitting the like button. Comments are always welcome. If you have a specific comment or a question or a troll, want to make fun of me, super chat's the best way to do that. It's the little dollar sign that you see on the bottom right hand corner of the screen underneath the comment section. Anything that you put in that super chat, as long as it's YouTube appropriate, I will throw it on the screen for everybody else to see as well. So I know it's late, but how's everybody doing? Crazy week 4. One of the craziest week 4s I've seen in quite a while. The 2022 college football season. I know the season that everybody likes to compare to is 2007, and of course I'm going to say it's resembling 2007 a little bit. But the biggest difference with 2007 and 2022 is 2007 was the curse of number 2. Pretty much, not every week, but most weeks, whoever was ranked number 2 in 2007 was going down. And unfortunately, West Virginia was ranked number 2 the very last week. And yes, the curse bit us as well. And everybody knows the story. We lost to Pitt, blew our chances of getting to the national championship, and most people thought that West Virginia would have won the national championship that year. And 13-9 is forever ingrained into my brain because of that. This year, it's a little bit different because the chaos is kind of scattered everywhere, from near misses and poor performances, but still survival, to straight up upsets not designated to one number. A bunch of numbers. No number is safe right now. You could be ranked any number, and you're at risk of getting upset this year. That's how crazy this year is. And I like it because we need parity in college football. We need that. We don't need teams monopolizing and dominating college football. We need parity. And maybe there will be a team that separates itself, just like last year it was Georgia. The year before that, it was Alabama. The year before that was LSU. And the year before that was Clemson. 4 straight years in a row, there has been that one team that has kind of separated themselves from everybody else, and you just weren't beating them. It wasn't happening. There was no chance. Wire to wire, they were the best team. This year, I'm not seeing that. Now, I thought I was seeing that with Georgia, and then this past week happened, and they allowed Kent State to score 22 points. That's amazing. And the biggest thing that Georgia fans want to brag about with that game is 0 punts. We had 0 punts in that game going to blue. Yeah, that's because you turned the ball over 3 times. I would rather have 3 punts over 3 turnovers because those 3 turnovers directly led to points. So, I mean, I guess in theory it sounds, like a really good feat to accomplish. You didn't have to punt not one time, but it needs to be coupled with not turning the ball over. So, very, very sloppy game for Georgia, and it made them look vulnerable. I'm not saying that they're bad now all of a sudden and all is lost and they're not going to be that dominating team. They still very well could be. I mean, we can't totally forget about the first 3 games. 10 points combined between the first 3 opponents for Georgia. So, yeah, they could still be that dominating team. But Kent State showed everybody that they are vulnerable in some aspects. So, we'll see how Georgia does from now on. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to make the playoffs, possibly make the national championship, and possibly repeat back-to-back as national champions. That's how good their defense is. And more importantly, that's how good their offense is this year. Surprisingly, really, really good. I knew it was going to be better this year, but it is much better. Stetson Bennett actually looks like a Heisman Trophy candidate. If you would have told me that last year, I probably would have laughed in your face. But it's true. He looks like a Heisman Trophy candidate this year. That's how good he's slinging the ball out there. You can see his leadership. He's a field general. He's commanding that offense. I'm very impressed, not going to lie. Anyways, all right, moving on. Last week, a lot of great games, a lot of close games. Kentucky, I'm not going to say barely survived, but it was a close win over Northern Illinois, another MAC team. Number 7 USC goes on the road and survives Oregon State. But I think Oregon State is a top 25 team. That's a good win for USC right there. Don't undervalue that win for USC. Michigan takes care of a good Maryland. Maryland was undefeated going into that game, and Maryland beats them by a touchdown, or was it 8 points? It was either 8 points or a touchdown, something like that. I can't remember the score right off the top of my head. But that was a good game. Maybe Maryland is going to scare some teams in the Big Ten East this year, or maybe it was an aberration, just like some of these other games in the top 10. It was really the top 10 that surprised me the most. The two teams that didn't really falter at all was Alabama. No problems with Vanderbilt, 55-3. And then, of course, Ohio State absolutely tearing Wisconsin apart, 52-21. So I was impressed. Those were the two teams that I was impressed with the most. So it was a touchdown win. Thank you, Trey Sargent. I appreciate that. But teams are, for real, going to start getting tested in the next few weeks. And we have some great matchups coming up. And, of course, I am going to talk about the West Virginia-Texas matchup. That could come down to will Quinn Ewers be healthy for that game or not? Because I think if Hudson Card is the starting quarterback for West Virginia, that West Virginia actually has the edge. Our offense is one of the best in the nation. We have the leading quarterback in the Big 12. We have the leading running back in the Big 12. And we have the leading receiver in the Big 12. Yes, that is a fact. We have one of the best offenses in the nation and arguably the best offense in the Big 12. Although I would say Kansas is, even though Kansas doesn't have the leaders in all those categories, their quarterback, Jalen Daniels, is, I think he should be a Heisman Trophy candidate, to be honest with you. That dude has come, well, I don't want to say come out of nowhere because he had a good year last year, but he's taken a massive step forward this year. But West Virginia does have one of the best offenses in the Big 12. The biggest issue with West Virginia so far is the defense, right? The defense. And they definitely let us down against Kansas. They were not prepared for the triple option / RPO / spread offense. That's what Kansas runs. It's like three offenses in one. You have to be gap. You have to keep gap integrity with the triple option. So your A gap, your C gap, and your B gaps have to be filled at all times. But you also have to keep your eyes on the quarterback for that run-pass option. And, oh, yeah, let's sprinkle in some spread in there and throw the ball down the field. So your safeties and your cornerbacks have to play true to who they're covering as well. So there's a lot going on in the field as far as what you have to defend against Kansas. So I think Duke did a good job as far as preparing for Kansas. They impressed me. I know they were undefeated going into that game, but really hadn't played anybody. I mean, who was it? Northwestern, I think, was their most impressive victory. I'll have to go back and look. But I think they game planned Kansas very, very well. Kansas still won, but it was much closer than what I was expecting. So it's the defense for West Virginia that's letting them down big time. Now, I know Virginia Tech has a really, really bad offense, but I did see some bright spots for West Virginia's defense, especially whenever we switched to Jacoby Spells in the second half. He needs to start. If he starts, West Virginia's defense is going to be immediately better from the get-go. Ajayi, he slipped one of his routes, and the Virginia Tech wide receiver had nobody around him for 10 yards. Lucky for West Virginia, Grant Wells can't throw a forward pass 10 yards and threw the ball over his wide open. If he would have just thrown a teardrop, he would have completed the pass. But no, too much air under it. and it goes out of bounds. Lucky for us. So he was benched. Jacoby Spells was brought in. Pick 6. Hey, a trip, busted coverage versus a pick 6, that's kind of an easy decision. So if we put Jacoby Spells out there, that's going to help lock down one side of the field. And then if our safeties can mature a little bit quicker, West Virginia has a really good shot of winning this game. Now, having said that, Texas is a really, really good team. This is going to be a tough game. This was one of the games that I had West Virginia losing at the beginning of the season. I am sticking with that. I do think that West Virginia goes on the road and loses to Texas. I think they'll lose to a score of, I'm going to say 41-31 or 41-35. I just don't trust our defense that much. Once again, it's a back-to-back road trip. We do get a little bit more of a gap as far as from game to game, because from the Towson game to the Virginia Tech game was a Saturday to a Thursday. This time it's a Thursday to the next Saturday. So I like that. It's a decent matchup. It's not a mismatch like Minnesota was. Going into that ball game, I warned West Virginia fans, we're not winning this game. If we can keep it close, that would be a miracle, because it was a mismatch. Their defense was better than our defense. We didn't have an offense. They were good at flipping the field, and we were bottom 10 in starting field position. So everything was in their favor. But for Texas, it's not so much. And I think at least we can keep the game close. But I do have this as a win, or as a loss, excuse me. This is a loss for West Virginia, but hopeful that somehow, some way we can pull off with a win. And then head into our bye week, and then like last year, get better and better after bye week. So that's the one bright thing. With Neil Brown teams, for whatever reason, before the bye week is whenever they're worst, and after the bye week is whenever they're the best. So as long as we don't pile up a lot of losses before the bye week, then we can actually have a good season. So this is a pivotal game for West Virginia. I still have it as a loss, but keep it close, and I'll be fine. I'll be happy. And I'm definitely going to live stream it as well. So you'll see Golden Blooded, a nervous wreck again, and probably mad for most of the game, because I don't expect us to win. Texas opens up as a 9.5-point favorite. Seriously, I did not look at the line before I did my prediction, and I have it as about a 10-point win for Texas. So I would actually probably lay those points because of that half a point, not quite 10. So y'all let me know what you think about that. Any questions, comments, or troll attempts, and you want me to see it and you want everybody else to see it, the best way to get my attention and everybody else's attention is the super chat button. It's a little dollar sign that you see on the bottom right-hand corner under the comments section. Anything you put in that, I'm going to throw it on the screen just like you see where my Golden Blue Dude name is. We'll throw it on the screen like that and address it in front of everybody, even if you make fun of me. We appreciate you supporting the show so much. We'll still throw it on the screen and read it out. All right, so what I want to do is we're going to go through and look at some of the big games and try to fill it out. See who we think is going to win, who's going to lose, where the matchups are, all that good stuff. First up, the Big 12. Already did West Virginia and Texas. I got Texas by 10, but I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think we'll see as many mistakes by West Virginia. I think we'll play more clean football this game, but Texas is they're just a better team. They're just a better team. Iowa State and Kansas, that was very intriguing. If this was on the road to Jack Trice, I'd probably actually take Iowa State. That's a very difficult place to win. I know Baylor just did it last week, but back-to-back losses at Jack Trice, very, very rare for Iowa State under Matt Campbell. So this is at Kansas. Iowa State, 3.5-point favorite. I don't see it. I think Kansas is the better team. This is in Lawrence. It is going to be a close game because Iowa State, they showed me a little something against Baylor. They're a decent team. They didn't take as big of a step back as I thought they would. But I'm going to take Kansas in that game. I think Kansas wins by a field goal, maybe a last-second field goal. I don't know. I think this is going to be a big back-and-forth type of game. But give me Iowa State, and I'm going to say not Iowa State, excuse me, Kansas. I do think this is going to be a higher scoring game. So I'm going to say 48-45, Kansas over Iowa State on a last-second field goal. Aaron Alley, thank you for the $5 donation, said, Love to see your Ed Oliver mini helmet come to you and in videos. Yes, that's probably one of the mini helmets that I won't take out of the package. So, yeah, I am definitely looking forward to that as well. If you see behind me, you'll see a couple new things. You see the Oklahoma. Is that a flag or it's? I don't know if it's a flag or a blanket or a mix. But I did the shout outs on the community of my YouTube channel. So I'm sorry if I can't remember the names. I have them written down, but I'm not very good with memorization. So we have the Oklahoma blanket that was sent to me. A few other things. If I hold on, if I see the let me try to move this down for a minute here. I don't know if you can see it, but the Beanie Babies right in front of Beanie Bears in front of the trophy, and the little, not mini helmets, but tiny helmets. I'm going to call those tiny helmets, not mini helmets. I threw that too high. Hold on, guys. Let's go back down a little bit. Mini helmets in shot. Well, not quite. Let's try them one more time. How about that? Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. I think they're all in shot because Baylor's right there, Marshall right there. That's all of them. We're good. But yeah, I can't wait for that. We also have, I got the Georgia National Championship Coke bottle. I don't think that was from Jim though, so I might end up with two of those. I have the West Virginia undefeated 1988 mug with all the wins on that, so I'm going to put that in the background. I have, check this out, guys. Hold on. That's pretty cool right there. That is an Oklahoma plaque of some of the great names and some of the great teams right there. I'm going to put that up. I will say this: you guys are, y'all are keeping me on my toes with the stuff you're sending me because I'm having to rearrange and make sure everything fits. Don't get me wrong; I am not complaining. I am actually excited about it, but it does keep me busy, and so you see my background constantly changing because I'm adding stuff and having to move stuff to make everything fit. And I saw a comment on the video early today, and the comment said, grown man begging for free merch, and had a laughing face. Begging. No, that doesn't ring a bell. I've never begged for anything. What I've done is I've said, if you want to send something to represent you and your team to be a part of the background forever, feel free to send it to my P.O. box. And actually, you know what? I hope he's watching. I don't remember who messaged me that. Hope you're watching, buddy. There's the P.O. box to send gear. And as you can see, people respond tremendously. I have a great background because of you guys. But begging for free merchandise, sir, you are way off. Way off. And you actually must be new to YouTube because there's a lot of channels that, encourage people to participate in the show. This is a way to participate on Golden Bluetooth basically forever. Your whatever you send to represent your team is a part of the background forever. So I think it's a great interactive way to have your subscribers interact with the channel. Aaron Alley, thank you for the $2 donation. Says you should get your mini helmet by October 8th. Awesome. Which, by the way, what's really blown me away about all the gear that you guys have sent is 16 straight days, guys. 16 straight days of at least one item for where are these gnats coming? Where are y'all coming from? Like every freaking night, I'm squishing like 5 gnats, and I have yet to find the source. Maybe there's a dead mouse outside or something. I don't know. It's annoying. Anyways, 16 straight days. That is absolutely mind-blowing. And today, whenever I checked my P.O. box, there was like 6 things. 6 things. Absolutely crazy. Aaron Alley, thank you for the $2 donation, says, I wanted to get it for you. Well, I greatly appreciate that. And it's definitely going to be in my background forever. And I'm going to look at it. But I probably will not take that out of its case because that's an extra special item So we'll find a good spot for that one as well. But you guys have absolutely blown me away with your response. I mean, look at this. I have 20 mini helmets. That is absolutely, and that's not even counting all the pennants. We got signs. We got flag. We have a rally towel, a terrible towel, whatever you want to call it. We have a national championship banner. We have a news clipping of a Heisman Trophy presentation. We have freaking beanie bears and not mini helmets, but tiny helmets. Blown me away, guys. And I still have a few more things I got to put up there. Hillbilly Skeptic, thank you for the $2 donation, buddy. Appreciate you. Ordering a UK helmet for the wall next week. Awesome. Kentucky does need to be represented, especially with how good they are right now. And I'm sure, if I were a basketball YouTube channel and once basketball rolled around, like I would get a lot of Kentucky fans sending stuff to represent Kentucky. But whenever football season's around, not so much. Not saying that you guys don't support basketball or football, because you do. And Kentucky's really, really good. And you can definitely see it. But Kentucky's been bad for so long that I can't blame Kentucky fans immediately looking forward to the basketball season. Like, that's not your fault that your team has been so bad for so long. But Mark Stoops has you in the upper echelon of the SEC East. My gosh, Kentucky's in the top 10. Guys, take a minute and really think about that for a second. Really think about that. Kentucky is ranked in the top 10. That is absolutely mind-blowing. That is the miracle that Mark Stoops has created at Kentucky. Absolute miracle. Dennis M., thank you for the $5 donation, said, hey, GBD, your pepperoni rolls are on the way. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about, because I live here in the upstate of South Carolina, and they don't even know what a pepperoni roll is. Now, don't get me wrong. My wife does fix them for me every once in a while, and she is good at it. She is good at it. Make no mistake about it. But West Virginia pepperoni rolls, can she hear me? No, she can't hear me. They're the best, guys. West Virginia pepperoni rolls are the best. I didn't say that, but y'all heard it. So there you go. Definitely appreciate that. I had some whenever I went up to the Pitt game. I mean, they were all over the place. In fact, when I was live streaming, y'all saw people coming up to me. All right, let's keep it rolling. So I have Kansas over Iowa State. I'm going to say 48-45 high-scoring game. Oklahoma State, number 9, Oklahoma State at number 16, Baylor. Baylor, 2.5-point favorite. I'm going with the home team here. They proved something to me last week going on the road to a hostile Iowa State, and Iowa State was undefeated. They go in there and beat Iowa State, and it was a mild upset because Iowa State was favored by 2.5. So I think Baylor gets the job done at home. I don't think Oklahoma State's defense is as good as what it was last year. I do think they have a good offense, but their defense is what wins road games. So that's why I'm giving the edge to Baylor. Final score prediction, I'm going to go Baylor 31, Oklahoma State 20. 31-20. How about that? Aaron Alley, thank you for the $5 donation, said, I can't wait for basketball season being a University of Houston fan. Yeah, Houston has gotten really, really good at basketball. Last year they made the big dance and went really, really deep. That was awesome. Awesome. Jimmy Touchdown, thank you for the $5 donation, says, was going to send you a few mini helmets, but you continue to allow Tim Prangley to denigrate your viewers. This is my last donation. Ears down. Okay, buddy. Sorry you feel that way, but me and Tim get along, so there you go. Next game. Did I make a prediction on that? Oh, yeah. What did I say? 35-21 or 35-20, something like that. Baylor over Oklahoma State. Next game, Texas Tech at Kansas State. John Marzula, thank you for the $1.99 donation, said, can you tell Nightbot who won the brawl? Yeah, I mean, Nightbot, it is true. Pitt did win the backyard brawl, and it was a great game. I was there, but it is true. You can't change that in the history books. Pitt won the 2022 backyard brawl. However, next year in Morgantown, it's not going to be no 70-30 or even 75-25, whatever the ratio of West Virginia fans to Pitt fans, West Virginia fans, whatever you want to call it. It's not even going to be close like that. It's going to be like 90-10 or 95-5 maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if Pitt will buy all the tickets that are allotted to them. They might be scared. There's something waiting for you in Morgantown next year, Pitt. Texas Tech, Kansas State. I think this is an underrated game. Texas Tech is better at the Jones. This is on the road to Kansas State, and Kansas State did just go on the road and beat Oklahoma. But something tells me that Kansas State might be in for another letdown game after losing to Tulane at home and then going on the road and beating Oklahoma. They're just too inconsistent. In fact, Adrian Martinez, their quarterback, because I wrote down the stats because I'm doing a video well, actually, I already did the video. I just got to edit it. Those are the stats for West Virginia. I've already written them down. So this is a fact. Number 11 in the Big Ten in passing yards is Adrian Martinez. All right, so let me get this straight. There's 10 teams in the Big 10, or in the Big 12, excuse me. There's 10 teams in the Big 12, right? And Adrian Martinez doesn't make the top 10. How is that even possible? Well, that's because number 9 is Quinn Ewers, and number 10 is Hudson Card. So there's 2 Texas quarterbacks that are in the top 10, and Adrian Martinez is outside of that. So I just don't think Adrian is consistent enough. Give me Texas Tech going on the road and upsetting the Wildcats, and the Wildcats are favored by 8. I'm going to say Texas Tech by a touchdown or so. Not that high of a scoring game. I'm going to go 38-30 Red Raiders. And finally, the last game of the Big 12, and then we're going to move on to the next conference, Oklahoma at TCU. Before I get to that, thank you, Aaron Alley, for the $5 donation. What about U of H versus Tulane? Am saying a loss. I will get to that here in just a minute. Since you brought it up, I will look into it. But first, the last game of the Big 12, number 18, Oklahoma on the road to TCU. TCU is undefeated. This would be a great win for TCU. They would stay undefeated, and they would get ranked. But Oklahoma is mad. They're angry, maybe even a little bit embarrassed, and they go into Fort Worth with a vengeance. Oklahoma is too good to lose 2 games in a row. Sorry, TCU fans, but your bid to get ranked is going to be denied, at least for this week. I'm going to take Oklahoma by a couple of touchdowns. I'm going to take Oklahoma 45-28. Oklahoma big over TCU. Big. They are a 6.5-point favorite, but I think they cover easily. All right, let me go to the Houston game real quick for request. Via request, I should say. I didn't say ACC. I said AAC. Stupid ESPN. Tulane at Houston. Houston is 2-2. Their 2 losses, Texas Tech and Kansas. Like I said, Houston is in for a rude awakening in a bad way when they get to the Big 12. Dana Holgerson is not good in the Big 12. That 12-2 nonsense being in the AAC, that's fine and dandy, but whenever y'all make the transition to the Big 12, it's not going to be good. That's okay. All you have to do is get rid of him and get a new coach, which I fully expect Houston to do. But Tulane at Houston, I'm actually going to take Tulane. I know a couple weeks ago, Tulane went on the road and they beat Kansas State, and they only have 1 loss. I just think Houston is due for a big offensive game, and Tulane doesn't have the greatest of defenses. They have a good defense. Don't get me wrong, but they don't have the greatest of defenses, and this isn't going to have to be a shootout type of game where, it turned out to be like Kansas and Kansas won. I think Houston does have this. They are at home, and Tulane, I just don't think they're going to be able to contain the air raid of Houston. So give me the Cougars, and I'm going to say, let's see, 41-30. 41-30. I do think Tulane puts up some points, but in the end, I have Houston. All right, moving on from the Big 12. Well, that was the American, but only 1 game. Now let's go over to the ACC. There's a couple of good games, guys. I'm going to skim over the lesser-known ones. Louisville, Boston College. I'm going to take Louisville on the road. Boston College is a train wreck right now, but it wouldn't surprise me if Boston College won. Anyways, Virginia Tech at North Carolina. North Carolina all over Virginia Tech. This is on the road for Virginia Tech, and they straight out suck. Wagner at Syracuse. Of course, Syracuse easy. Virginia at Duke. I'm going to take Duke. They're going to be mad. It's going to be at home. They're a good team. I'll take Duke. Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh. No worries, Pitt fans. You go to 4-1, and you probably actually get ranked in my new rankings. Aaron Alley, thank you for the $2 donation. I agree, but not like him. Yeah, not many people do like him after they figure out that he's not really that great of a coach. So I'm right there with you. On to the two games that really matter in the ACC. The first one, number 22, Wake Forest at number 23, Florida State. This is a ranked versus ranked. Wake Forest just lost to Clemson, but it was a close game. I think they only fell one spot. Florida State is hot. It's at home, and I think Florida State stays undefeated, but I think in the future, Florida State, they're going to grab a couple of losses. I really do. I think that Florida State grabs a couple of losses, but not just yet. And this is going to be a good win for Wake Forest, or for Florida State, excuse me. And the biggest problem that I have with Wake Forest is they don't have a defense, okay? And look, Clemson doesn't have a great offense, but because of Wake Forest's bad defense, it made their offense look magnificent. And Wake Forest can score on pretty much any defense, but this is in Florida State. This is going to be a very hostile road environment. It's a 3:30 kick. That helps a little bit as well. It's not a noon kick. So the atmosphere, Wake Forest not having a defense, they just got off a close loss to Clemson. I think this is one of those losses where it will beat them twice. So I'm not necessarily saying that Florida State's the better team. In fact, altogether, I think Wake Forest is the better team. But all those factors put together, I'm going to take Florida State. I think Wake Forest does let Clemson beat them twice in a row, kind of like what Miami did with Texas A&M whenever Middle Tennessee just beat them. Florida State's hot. Florida State is good enough to beat Wake Forest, so I'm taking the Seminoles. And finally, number 10, NC-State at number 5, Clemson. Both of these teams undefeated. This is the marquee matchup of the ACC this week. If this were in Raleigh like it was last year, I'd probably take NC State again. But it's in Death Valley. This is a revenge game for Clemson. I think Clemson stomps a mud hole into NC State. NC State does have a good defense. They do. One of, if not the best defense in the ACC. But their offense is total garbage. It is total garbage. And I'm going to say Clemson puts up at least 35 points, and NC State is not putting up at least 30 points in Death Valley. They'll be lucky to go over 24. So I'm going to take Clemson in a solid, convincing win. In fact, people will probably say, start talking about Clemson in the playoffs just because of this win. I won't be buying into it just yet. I'll have to see more of it. But this particular win will be convincing enough to where people will start talking about it. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to take Clemson at home because of NC State's lack of offense. That's the best way I can put it. Their lack of offense. It's on the road. This is a revenge game. Clemson will 100% get up for this game. Aaron Alley, thank you for the $2 donation. See you later. Have a good one. Appreciate you stopping by. I know this was a little bit later of a show, but I appreciate you stopping by and supporting the channel. Great supporter right there, ladies and gentlemen. But Clemson, I have Clemson all over NC State. I'm gonna go 38-20, something like that. 38-20. It's convincing, and NC State's gonna be scratching their heads, wondering what the heck just happened after they exit Death Valley. All right, so we've covered the Big 12 and the ACC. Let's go to the Pac-12 real quick, and then we'll finish up by doing the Big 10 and the SEC. The best for last, right? So for the Pac-12, first the throwaway games. California at Washington State. Washington State coming off a stupid loss to Oregon because of stupid refs, no call, but it's still a loss. It's still a loss. Can't use the refs as an excuse. Even though that was a no call, Washington State still needed to stop Oregon, and they didn't. So they lost fair and square, okay? But Cal is a small team. They're not very good. So I'm going to say Washington State by a couple touchdowns. Why the line is only -4, I have no idea. Maybe Washington State has a few missing players. Who knows? Or maybe Vegas was so impressed with Cal's win over Arizona that bumped up their value. I don't know. But I think Washington State's going to be all over Cal. The next throwaway game, Colorado at Arizona. Colorado's going to make Arizona look like a great, great team. Arizona by 3 touchdowns, easy. Stanford at Oregon. Maybe this could be one of those oddball upsets that Stanford does from time to time like they did last year. However, this is on the road. I don't think they're quite ready for the upset. I'm looking further down the road for Stanford to pull the stunner. I don't think they do this year, this week against number 13 Oregon. So I think Oregon handles Stanford by, I'm going to say 10 points. Arizona State at number 6 USC. Offense. This could turn out to be like a 60-10 football game. That's how bad this game is going to be. USC all over Arizona State. Not worth talking about. Washington, this could be interesting, guys. Number 15, Washington at UCLA. Both of these teams are undefeated. UCLA hasn't really played anybody, but they are undefeated, and they haven't looked all that great. This is at home. However, 18 to 20,000 people on average have been turning out for these UCLA games. Will more people show up? I don't know. I don't know what the problem is over there at the Rose Bowl, but they are not supporting their team. I don't think UCLA pulls any type of stunner here. No atmosphere. Washington goes in and takes care of business on a Friday night. I'm going to say by 10 to 14 points, something like that. Easy win for Washington. Oregon State. Wait, do I want to do that one? I think that's the last one, actually. All right, so I do want to do that one. It's the last one. Oregon State at number 12, Utah. Both of these teams have one loss. For Utah, it was the first game at Florida. Even though Florida's not good, I predicted that mild upset because it's the first game of the year. Hostile road environment. Florida didn't know that they sucked just yet, so they had all the hope in the world, and it took an interception in the end zone to seal the deal for Florida. So don't read too much into that. But Oregon State is also the real deal. They took USC to the wire and got beat by 3 points. It took USC a late fourth quarter touchdown to put Oregon State away. Oregon State's a top 25 team, in my opinion. Utah is a very, very tough place to play in. Very, very tough. But I feel like the matchups favor Oregon State. Sometimes it just makes sense to pick the upset because of the matchups. I think the matchups are in the favor of Oregon State. And Utah is a 10.5-point favorite. So this will be a decent upset. So give me the Beavers in a jaw-dropping what just happened upset in the Pac-12. And USC is going to be like, wow, that really was a good win. Oregon State is a good team. And that's actually going to increase the stock of USC. Give me the Beavers over the Utes by about a touchdown. Massive upset. I think Oregon State gets the job done. I like the matchups across the board for them. All right, next up, the Big Ten, and then we'll finish up on the SEC. First up, number 4, Michigan at Iowa. If Iowa's defense allows a touchdown, Iowa loses. Iowa has trouble scoring one touchdown in a game. They do. It's a fact. Michigan's going to score at least 3. So right there, game over. I'm taking Michigan on the road to Iowa. It is an intimidating atmosphere, but Iowa's they're not good on offense. They are not good at all. So I think Michigan will score enough points, just enough. It might be 17-14, 20-10, 20-14, something like that. But Michigan's offense is good enough to score 3 times. And Iowa's offense is definitely not good enough to score 3 times on Michigan's defense. I'm going to take Michigan by a field goal. They're favored by 10.5, but I don't think it's that close. All right, let's go through some throwaway games. Rutgers at Ohio State. Rutgers is better, but Ohio State's favored by 40. I don't think they cover 40, but it's no problem for Ohio State. Northwestern at Penn State. Penn State only favored by 25.5. Penn State will cover that, no problem. Michigan State at Maryland. Maryland favored by 7. Maryland will cover and continue on with just one loss. They're going to be 4-1 after beating Michigan State. I'm telling you, Michigan State taking that significant step back that I saw because last year, no defense. This year, no defense. Biggest difference from last year to this year. Well, the bounces of the ball are not going their way. I mean, go back and look at their wins. They needed some things to happen, and they happened this year. Those things are not happening, and they're missing Kenneth Walker, who was basically their offense. Give me Maryland by a touchdown over Michigan State. Indiana, Nebraska, who cares? But I'll take I'll take Indiana by 1 point. Maybe a block point after against Nebraska. Who knows? Purdue, Minnesota could be intriguing, but I think Minnesota stays undefeated, beats Purdue by a couple of touchdowns. Illinois, Wisconsin. This could be a better game than people realize. Illinois is a good team. They're going to trip some people up, and I think that's exactly what they do. Illinois on the road, big road win for Wisconsin or for Illinois, and it keeps their Big Ten West title hopes alive. This could come down to Illinois versus Minnesota in the Big Ten West. Did I go through all of them? So there actually were no big matchups. Wow, that might be the biggest matchup. Illinois at Wisconsin. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. That's not good. Illinois over Wisconsin on the road. I like Illinois. They're actually really, really good. And Wisconsin has taken a huge step back this year. I mean, they got absolutely pulverized by Ohio State. All right, on to the SEC. Throwaway games. Eastern Washington, Florida. As bad as Florida is, that's an easy win. South Carolina State at South Carolina. As bad as South Carolina is, easy win. Let's see here. LSU, Auburn. Surprisingly, both of these teams are 3-1. How? I don't know. LSU is actually favored by 9 points. If this was in Death Valley, I would take the Tigers of LSU. But since it's at Jordan-Hare, I'm going to take the Tigers of Auburn. I don't think either one of these teams are very good. LSU is definitely not, Penn State level. So they're not going to go in and own Auburn at Auburn. No. Both of these teams suck. And I think the home field is the difference. This could be like a 14-10. 17-14 type of game, but I think home field is just enough for Auburn to beat LSU. And then finally, the two, first Georgia, Missouri. No problems for Georgia. They'll cover easily. They're going to beat Missouri by 30+. Texas A&M at Mississippi State. I like the line here. Mississippi State is favored by 3.5. I agree with that because what Texas A&M does is they lose to Appalachian State, and then they beat Miami and Arkansas, 2 ranked teams in a row. And now they're going to go on the road and lose to an unranked, one loss though, Mississippi State. What's going to happen is Mississippi State is going to beat Texas A&M, and now Mississippi State will be ranked. That's how that's going to go down. And yes, they will cover. Oh, man, between these two games. All right, so I'm going to save the game that I think is the most important for last. So the second most important game, in my opinion, is going to be number 2, Alabama at number 20, Arkansas. Alabama is favored by 17. I think that's about right. I think Alabama doesn't really have any real issues on the road to Arkansas. It'll be close for a little while, but Alabama is the superior team. We saw some major flaws in Arkansas's offense last week. I know Texas A&M does have a good defense, but so does Alabama. I know this is on the road, but Alabama has a much better offense than Arkansas. Could it be closer than 17 points? Absolutely. It is on the road. But I don't trust Arkansas yet, though. Not just yet. So I'm going to take Alabama. I think they barely don't cover just because they're on the road. So I'm going to take Alabama, and I'm going to take them by 2 touchdowns. I think Texas is a better team than Arkansas this year. Okay? So I think Alabama takes care of business easily. Not a 1 point win. It comes down to the last minute. They take care of business, and Alabama is the type of team that also gets better throughout the year. So if they're going to stump their toe, it's going to be earlier in the year instead of the last part of the year. So they're going to get by this, and they're going to get better and better and better. Really, the 2 back-to-back road games is really what concerns me for Alabama, at LSU, at Ole Miss. I think they could most definitely lose on the road to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has the offense. You have to have the offense to beat Alabama, and I just don't think Arkansas does. And I don't think that KJ Jefferson is ready for that big moment. Well, I mean, we saw it last week against Texas A&M. He wasn't ready then. He won't be ready this week. But I still think Arkansas still has a chance of winning out after Alabama and having a 10-win season. So maybe I'm wrong. I'm actually kind of hoping that I'm wrong about this. I hope Arkansas upsets Alabama. I just don't see it. Give me Alabama, but they don't cover by 2 touchdowns. And finally, the biggest game of the SEC and the biggest game of the day. Number 7, Kentucky at number 14, Ole Miss. I am very back and forth on this one. Ole Miss is favored by 6.5. Both of these two teams didn't look fantastic last week, but before last week, they've had their moments. I think Kentucky going on the road and beating Florida has them believing, has them confident that they can go on the road and beat a good team. I actually thought that Florida was going to beat Kentucky, not because I thought Kentucky was, worse than Florida or that Florida was better than Kentucky. I just didn't think that Kentucky was ready to go into a hostile road environment where they've rarely won. I think they've only, before this year, I think they've only won one time in the Swamp. Make that 2. So they have the confidence to go on the road and take care of business. And this past week, they stubbed their toe against Northern Illinois. I think Kentucky gets up for this game. I think they play their A game. And I think it's a little bit of a shocker because people don't believe in Kentucky just yet. Just yet. But give me the Wildcats going on the road and upsetting Ole Miss. A lot of people will be shocked with this. It's not that big of an upset. Ole Miss is only a 6.5-point favorite, but because of the venue, people are going to be talking about it. Wow, Arkansas or Kentucky on the road. That's impressive. People aren't used to the fact of Kentucky being good. Kentucky is that good. Mark Stoops is that good of a coach. And I expect Kentucky to have a 10-win season and at least scare Georgia because, after Ole Miss, they get South Carolina, Mississippi State at home. Those should be wins. At Tennessee, that's probably going to be a loss right there. Tennessee's good, and it's on the road. But then at Missouri, easy win. And then Vanderbilt at home. And then they get Georgia at home. At home. I don't know if I want to predict that loss or not because I think Georgia only has one loss, and it could be Mississippi State or it could be Kentucky. But whichever one it is, the other one, it's not. They're not going to – Georgia's not losing 2 games this year. It's only going to be 1. So maybe it just depends on if they beat Mississippi State or not. That might, choose it for me right there. If they beat Mississippi State, then I'll probably predict the upset there. And if they don't beat Mississippi State, then I'm going to say Georgia wins it. That's the logic of my prediction for that game. But Kentucky is that good. They've already, they have the confidence. They've already proven to themselves that they can go on the road in a hostile environment and win a football game. And honestly, Ole Miss hasn't looked that good at all. They are 100% missing Matt Corral. They're not, scoring 40, 50 points a game. They're actually having to rely on their defense a little bit more this year, and their defense isn't great. They've done enough, but it's not great. So I think Kentucky pulls out a gutsy, gritty, grinded out, in the trenches win over Ole Miss. I think they win by 3 or 4 points. I'm going to say 28-24 Kentucky at Ole Miss. And after this game, a lot of people are going to be talking about Kentucky as a playoff team. I'm not saying that they're a playoff team. I don't think they are. But they are the number 8 team. This is on the road. Ole Miss is ranked. Just that combination right there will get people talking about Kentucky possibly being a playoff team in the future. And that'll really get some buzz going on around Lexington. And then basketball season would be gravy If Kentucky has a 10-win regular season, once again, basketball season will be gravy because, as much support as Kentucky gets in football, and they are starting to get the support because they are starting to be successful. Kroger Field packed out game after game after game last year, this year, and if they keep having success, years to come. But basketball will still reign supreme in the state of Kentucky. Yes, Coach Smith, they have an okay offense, but last year they had an elite offense, like scary offense. When you played Ole Miss last year, if you couldn't score 40 points, you were scared because it was almost, not quite, it was almost a guarantee that Ole Miss was going to score at least 40 points or more. And that's not the case this year. They can still put up points, but they're not elite like they were last year. And I think Kentucky has a good enough defense to where they're going to keep them under 30 points. So Kentucky themselves, although capable of scoring 30 points or more on the Ole Miss offense, because it's on the road, I don't think they will. But their defense will stifle Ole Miss's offense. So I see a lower-ish scoring game, 28-24, in favor of the Wildcats. And they move on to 5-0, possibly sniffing top 5. If Kentucky goes on the road and beats Ole Miss, I don't care if Clemson beats N.C.State, they don't fall. Let me see all the ranked matchups real quick. Hold on, guys. Bear with me. I'm just trying to figure out if Kentucky wins this game, how far they could possibly jump. So we'll go to top 25 real quick. Let's see. Number 4, Michigan. They're not losing to Iowa, so they'll stay put. Actually, Kentucky's number 7. Excuse me, I was wrong. Alabama's not losing to Arkansas. Ohio State's not losing to Rutgers. Georgia's not losing to Missouri. Clemson's not losing to N.C.State. USC not losing to Arizona State. So as great of a win that is, Kentucky, you might be stuck at number 7 for a little bit longer. But I still think that's a great win, worth the jump, but nobody's going to go down. So sorry, but maybe the teams that are idle. Who's idle? Let's see. Number 1 plays Georgia. Number 2, Alabama plays. Number 3, Ohio State plays. Number 4, Michigan plays. Number 5, Clemson plays. Number 6, USC plays. So, yeah, everybody above you plays. So, there you go. Sorry. Anyways, quick reminder. Well, that's not right. Here we go. Quick reminder, if you want to send gear to represent your team. I mean, look at all this. Everybody that's represented. Let me tilt that down just a little bit more. There you go. Hopefully I didn't tilt it down too much to where you can't see it. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. Let me scoot that out. So you can't quite see it, but those are the Beanie Babies. And those are the teeny helmets. They're not the mini helmets. They're teeny helmets. But that's still cool. I like it. So if you want to send gear to represent your team, be a permanent part of my background, I think it's one of the best backgrounds in all of college football. What do y'all think? As far as college football YouTube channel, I think it's one of the best right there. And it's because you guys send stuff to represent represent your teams. That's why I have one of the best backgrounds in all of YouTube world. Needed a drink of Pepsi. My mouth is a tad dry from yapping too much. I yap way too much. Pocket helmets. Yes. Why did I not? I knew that. Drew, you know what? I'll have to agree with you on that. Uncle Lou does have a better background. I like his setup. He has the shelves where all the Power 5 mini helmets that some he bought and some of his subscribers bought with him. But I'm not here to compete with Uncle Lou. So I know you're in here trying to start drama. You tried to do it in my comment section on my video. So grow up, buddy. But if you want to talk trash, that's fine. But don't try to pit me against somebody because I don't fall for that nonsense. You need to grow up, sir, for real. But we have 20 mini helmets. Somebody I can't remember their name. Somebody said that they were sending the entire freaking Sunbelt. That is crazy. That is crazy. Then act like it, Drew. Act like it, buddy. That's crazy. We'll see. We'll see. And when it happens, that's gonna be nuts. But let's see. All right. So last time we talked about major fan bases that aren't repped on the mini helmet scene yet. Well, Michigan, you're good to go now. Ohio State, you're good to go now. Alabama, you've been good to go. LSU, you're good. Florida State, you're good. Miami, you're good. So biggest fan bases not represented for the mini helmet would be USC. Let's see who else. USC. I would say Oregon, right? Oregon has a national fan base, I would say. Let's see USC. I know somebody's sending a Wisconsin mini helmet. Texas. Yep, Texas. I'm actually surprised about that, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't have nobody sent me Texas anything. I think they're scared that I'm going to turn everything upside down. I promise, Texas fans, if you send gear to represent your team, I'm not going to turn it upside down. You have my promise. I promise you that. Let's see. Fresno State. No, I haven't got any Fresno State gear yet. Not yet. The group of 5 gear that I've gotten so far would be Air Force, Utah State. Let's see. We have FIU right there. Montana, FCS Montana, represented in the house. I think that's it, though. Let me make sure. Air Force. No, Louisiana. I got you. So we got Louisiana, FIU, Air Force twice, pennant and mini helmet. Marshall. Forgot about Marshall. There's Air Force again. Utah State. I don't know if I said them. And Glenville State FCS program. That's where Rich Rod actually came from. So somebody wanted to represent Rich Rod's stomping grounds. Wife had a good day actually today. That's why we went out and ate as a family and had a pretty good time. So whenever you can go out and enjoy a really good meal as a family, take it. It's definitely worth moving my schedule around. Family is always first. We had a great time, a lot of laughs. My daughters love to sing. Let me tell you that. It was when we were in the car, it was song after song after song after song, sing along. So it was a pretty good time. So yeah, well worth it. And hey, there's still a few people that stayed up to watch a live show from Golden Blue Dude. Just to be honest, I wasn't expecting this many of my viewers to be up this late. So once again, you guys have blown me away. Appreciate the support. I think I have one of the most loyal subscriber fan bases out there, and it's because of people like you. There is no Golden Blue. See, I'm just this ugly face and this nasally voice. You guys are actually Golden Blue, and there would be no Golden Blue without you. All right. I feel like we can. I think we're ending the show on a high note. I think we can end the show. Joey Foster says, "Here's the poll. Who wins this weekend? Let's see." So the winner is Kentucky close, 40%. So the choices were Kentucky close, Ole Miss close, Kentucky blowout, Ole Miss blowout. So the lowest percentage was Ole Miss blowout, 7% voted for that. Next was Kentucky blowout. That was 18%. Ole Miss close was the next, 33%. But the winner is, and this is what I'm predicting, Kentucky in a close one. So I guess well, I actually do have a cold right now. I guess most of the subscribers actually agree with me on that one. All right. Good deal. Anyways, yep, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Appreciate everybody that stopped by a little bit later than usual. That's why I encourage all my subscribers to have the notification bell ring, because I honestly don't know when I'm going to go live the next day, because life happens and I have to fit the live shows in wherever I can. So today it was a late one because we had family dinner. Tomorrow it's probably going to be an earlier one, but I have no idea what time, maybe around 6 or 7, something like that. We do have a special guest on Wednesday. I'll promote that tomorrow in the community, so keep your eyes out for that one. And then, of course, Thursday and Friday, we have the TriCast, Golden Blue Dude, Voice of College Football, and the Voice of College Football for West Virginia. There you go, guys. Appreciate your support, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for hitting the like button. And if you haven't, please hit the like button on the way out. Even though it's not going to be live anymore, it still helps the video hit the YouTube algorithm and gets more views. That's how you build a video. Yeah, everybody that super chatted, everybody that commented, all that helps, guys. All that helps. And I want to make sure that I always thank you guys for doing that, because you don't have to do that. Like, there's no requirement for you to like or comment or super chat, but you guys do it anyways. And I really appreciate it, because that's what keeps the channel going. That's what keeps the channel growing, because you guys make a choice every day to keep supporting and keep liking what I do. And I'm blown away every day that I wake up. I'm blown away because you guys continue to choose to support and watch and like Golden Blue Dude. Whether you agree with me or not, doesn't matter. It's you like the content and you continue to support me. So for that, I greatly thank you for that. More pre-recorded regular videos coming tomorrow, but for today, the live show, that's going to do it. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. I just don't know what time.